So you're going to get a double intro today on this video. Ethan and I had some pretty high expectations that we'd be able to flow through 4 factions in one video, and we only got through 1 in the 1 hour this one took. So you'll have to forgive the funky intro in that we're going to talk about 4 videos or 4 factions when we're just going to be talking about trolls in this one. So strap yourselves in for a doozy. I'm very excited for this one. So let's go forward and see how we feel about the dynamic update for trolls. Thanks for stopping by Big Top Gaming. My name's Brian.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're back to talk about some War Machine. So in this video, we're going to be kind of talking about the recent dynamic update, or quality of life update, I think is what Privateer Press decided to call it. So in this one, we're going to be talking about probably our home factions, if you had to kind of pin us down. And that would be, for me, Trolls and Khador. And then, Ethan, what are your home factions?
Circle and Retribution.
Ooh. So let's go ahead and just kind of kick things off right away with the troll changes, because there's enough to talk about here that could go on for a little while. So just kind of going through the list, we see some of the big changes coming to Borka, and this one gets a little... This is Borka 1, by the way, the Keg Slayer. So Borka 1 was one of my favorite casters when I first started playing. I loved Family Reunion, and now that Hungerford's gone from Privateer Press, I can just continue to say that Boomhowler is definitely Borka's son. No one can contest me on that anymore.
I mean, it's supported by Fluff. He was in Family Reunion.
Yeah,
there's only one reason.
Exactly, right? So Borka and his boy are coming back, and even if he wasn't his father, he's his daddy. They're both blue and they have mohawks, right? Get it?
Sure.
It works.
Yeah.
So Borka got some really cool changes. And even cooler than what I think some people would believe looking at the change. So Top Off basically just became range 1 instead of base to base, and then his Fury stat actually goes up 2. Instead, he used to just go up 2 Fury points and not get a bigger control area. So like, one of the things that Privateer Press used to say was like, Borka doesn't need a bigger control area from the Rune Bear because Mosh Pit's just such an amazing spell. But now they've gone ahead and done it, and there's an interesting interaction that happens with Top Off now, in that since the Top Off lasts until the end of your control phase, you can top yourself off to go up to Fury 9 because you reduce your Fury on your stack in the maintenance phase, which comes beforehand, and that means you just get a Fury 9 Borka running around. Like, his Fury stat isn't 9, but he has 9 Fury on him, and that can get pretty nasty.
Yeah, because you remove excess Fury of your stat in the maintenance phase, but since his ability lasts until the end of your next control phase, he leeches back up to 7. He has 7 Fury on him. Then his Fury stat goes down to 5, and you don't discard the excess because that only happens in the maintenance phase.
Yep.
Unless Privateer Press makes a ruling on this. So then at the beginning of the activation phase, he should be Fury stat 5, and still have 7 Fury on him from last turn if he didn't spend any. Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, he can't spend any Fury because then he wouldn't really... Or no, because he can still leech back up to 7, so it doesn't matter what he spent last turn. In the control phase, he will leech to 7 because that's his stat. And then, like, you can top him off again, and his Fury stat will go back to 7, and he will add 2 Fury points to himself, so he'll go up to having 9 Fury on him.
Yeah, which is pretty intense. He's got 2 really good spells between Mosh Pit and Windwall. You'll probably get Arcane Ward out right away anyways, so like, having him run around being like a potential POW plus Strength 18 Warlock is pretty nasty. So I wouldn't be super surprised if people started putting him on the table in a competitive pairing, but I still think he's probably a little bit pointed. The meta, I think, needs to go a certain way for him to be seen on the table a lot, but I, for one, am excited about this, and I hope that Privateer Press doesn't nerf it down, because, like, Borka doesn't need to be hit.
No, like, it doesn't feel intentional for him to have 9 Fury points on himself, but, like, that's just kind of how it works.
Well, and it's not like it's breaking him, right? He just gets to, like, kill one thing real good.
Yeah, with his POW 15, then you can Pyrotroll up to 17, Cold Stone up to 19.
Yeah, 19, sorry.
So, like, it's not bad.
No, I think it's pretty fun. Like, I think it makes Borka an interesting choice. So now we get to go down to like probably one of the bigger-ish nerfs that's in the actual Trollbloods faction is going to be Gunbjor, and his feat changed to where like now the power, it's actually blast damage. It's not considered not blast damage, which is kind of mitigatable because the blast immunity thing had happened all over the place. So like unless you're playing against trenchers, it's not the biggest hit in the universe. So I think Gunny 2 is still like a competitive choice. It's just that like there'll be things that stop him from having a lot of efficacy, which I do think trenchers are going to come back in general. So maybe Gunbjor might fall out of the meta for a little while until that theme force kind of gets dealt with.
I think it's more going to be Ret because Ryovas have girded, so like that just shuts down Gunny too. Whereas before, like his feat was pretty good into Ret, even like Issy withstanding, because like there was just so many units she couldn't blinding light all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a good change. Most of the things that were blast immune are not blast immune, like Rocket Men. So like those matchups haven't changed, and they've just kind of gotten even better because now he doesn't need his feet to kill them. It's just his feet turn basically like, who gives a shit if Rocket Men are blast immune or blast resistant? Like his full force feet is still POW 16s, POW 14s. Like it's just auto kills.
I'm pretty sure they're POW 11 or ARM 11 base, so like going up to 15. But we can complain about that when we get to Crucible.
I'm not complaining.
I will complain.
I'll complain about Solid Ground getting gutted.
As a person who just painted 30 Rocket Men, I will complain.
Well, that's your fault.
So going on, climbing up out of the toilet bowl, we're going into Kalandra. Now Kalandra, I love her so much. There's a soft spot in my heart for her because I played EE so much. You can all hate me for days because of that, but I loved it. It was such a fun theme force. But she got a change for Soothing Song. So like all casters or warlocks who had, well, all warlocks because no casters have it. Soothing Song just became like a base ability that you can enact instead of having to cast it, which is pretty cool. I enjoy that change quite a bit. But the coolest thing on Kalandra's card now is that she gained Discombobulate. So it's a cost 2, range 10 offensive spell, and essentially you just treat the front arc and the back arc as the back arc on a model, which I want to not like that this is on her because it means that, like, spoiler, the Highwaymen didn't fucking change, and Jesus Christ, they needed a change so bad.
They got Discombobulated.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. Kalandra got a big buff so that Highwaymen could exist again, and like I love the fact that this spell is on her. It really kind of like goes with her theme, and the only thing that irks me is that it means that the Highwaymen weren't going to get any buffs out of this.
No, it's such a good spell, even though like she only has an arc node in one theme.
Yeah, it's Power Dunia, and you don't get Highwaymen in it.
Yeah, so like, and I don't know if she can play in Power of Dunia, and basically it just becomes old EE. Yeah. And like, it's such a good spell. Like, man, it's a good spell. Turning off Counter Charge, Dying Breath, Last Word, Counter Slam, Retaliatory Strike, Defensive Strike. Like, it's a really, really good spell.
Does this also I'm not like dissecting the spell a bunch, but doesn't this turn off shields?
Yes.
Yeah, both the front arc and the back arc are treated as the back arc. So yeah, you just ignore shields.
Yeah, you basically turn around and you get the rear strike bonus.
Yeah.
That's why you get backstab, you get +2 to hit. Like,
and if you were bringing a bunch of lights with her, most of those are mat 6, so going up to mat 8 is really nice.
And the big thing is it's model/unit. So like you get the whole unit. I didn't realize that when I first read it. I thought it was just model.
No, it's bonkers. Like another spoiler, Malikov 2 got this, and I think like Kalandra definitely like got the better part of that.
I mean, he has battle plans for backstab,
he doesn't have transfers.
But he has
and he legit has no arc node.
He has sack pawn.
Yeah, I don't know.
And his battle plans.
So moving forward, Gunny 1 got Killshot and Gunfighter as his field marshal, which is fun. Like I think he's still a good warlock, and it's just neat that he got both of them. Like, I
mean, being able to Killshot into the melee, into melee with something you're already engaged with is a nice quality of life change, and being able to just being engaged doesn't turn off Killshot now.
Actually, yeah. No, it's good. Like, I think it's nice for him. Now, this is probably one of the most...
This is spicy. I don't like this.
Top three changes in this in Trolls is Grim 1. Jeepers Creepers. His freaking gun got witch mark.
Why?
He's got a a 12-inch range gun that goes up to 16 with snipe, and now you can just smack somebody with his Rat 8 gun, Rat 7, 8, 9 aiming, and then you've got, mark the target if you really want to. But that's nutty enough. But then they changed his spell Man Trap to Bear Trap, so essentially you don't get the earthquake type spell anymore. So like Man Trap didn't need to directly hit in order to knock down, but Man Trap was only warrior models, and they got rid of that. Now he's just got a knockdown spell, and Grim 1 already, like if you haven't played against this guy, boy are you missing out, because he will get you real bad.
I hated Grim 1
he is
so much.
Such a nasty control caster for trolls, and on top of that he just does so much. Like, he has an amazing spell list. His feat is bonkers.
It's ridiculous. They took away like the no charging aspect of Denny's feat and just like slap it on Grim.
Yep.
Call it good. Neg 3 speed and def. Oh, you want to run with your speed 1 heavy? Get fucked.
Yeah, Grim 1, like this change, I don't think it needed to happen.
It did
but
not.
I'm very happy for this change. Like, he's like for sure gonna be in definitely the discussion for all of my competitive pairings, just because like he's such a beast of a caster. And for those who have been overlooking him, like, if this doesn't get you excited, like, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, I don't even know why Grim 1 3 huge bases disappeared. Like, one day it was just out of the meta and people stopped playing it. Mm-hmm. And then I could actually enjoy my speed 4 Swamp Horrors again.
Well, we might find out that list could be coming back a little bit later. So now we can go up to probably the biggest travesty of all time. Gristle 1 got hit pretty hard. So she does she did kind of change a little bit in that, like, her fell calls, they can, she has the ability to affect people with multiple fell calls, which is
really nice.
No, yeah, it's real nice because she's got 4 of them now. And you couldn't Pathfinder anybody or Relentless Charge anyone with your normal fell caller. So like her and a regular fell caller or the Sons of Brag could never really play together because their fell calls were kind of the thing for them, but they could only be, especially Sons of Brag. They by the way, Sons of Brag lost theme songs, so like that kind of gets rid of the weird back and forth of being like, oh, now I can't bring Sons of Brag in any Gristle list because they can't be affected by anything but their fell calls, but they can be affected by other fell calls now, which is really good. But the good things for her is that she got the Unbreakable fell call, which just gives a faction or gives a model unit unyielding, which I really like. I'm not opposed to trolls getting more armor.
No, that's really good. And the fact that it's model/unit and not just warrior models, so like you can throw that on a Mountain King, or I mean, champions are of course the default everything for trolls, but like the fact she can put it on war beasts and stick it in the zone is like, I think it's very not underappreciated, but it's still like a nice little thing she can do when normally, of course, like you said, you'd want to throw it on a big unit.
Yeah, I think people are going to get caught by that if they're playing against a Gristle 1 list where they're just like, oh, there's a heavy that's unyielding and under stone. That's like arm 22, or a little higher depending on who you are. But the rough part for her is she's kind of paying for Boom Howler 3's sins. That Hoof It got nerfed, so now you can't do it. You can't do the move from Hoof It if you run, or if you either ran or failed to charge with a unit. But Ethan pointed something out very interesting to me in that you know what, you can have this.
So
Ethan.
There's a question on the rules forum right now is which it works. Hoof It does not say if you fail a slam. So Tuffalos or even beasts can still slam, get an extra 3 inches, and then still get a full advance. So it's not definitely not as good as Northkin Raiders being in your opponent's AD line top of one with their basically double run.
Yeah.
But like,
well, and Tuffalos themselves are 8 boxes, pretty high armor, and if you're doing this on feet turn, they can be unyielding too. So like, it can get pretty nasty with that right now. I don't think Privateer Press intended for that to happen, but so I wouldn't be shocked if this was a change that kind of hit sooner rather than later. But for right now, smoke them if you got them. Tuffalos are back in business with Gristle 1.
Yeah, like it's pretty good.
So Small change with Gristle 2, where she just gained unyielding, which was definitely something overdue. Like, her feat gives it, so like I'm perfectly fine with her having the unyielding. She went up in War Beast points, which is whatever, but for the most part, she
plus
didn't
3
change.
points is nice.
It's nice. I mean, like 30 is kind of like a really nice number for Trollbloods. I think 29 is the nice number though, because like you get a Bomber Mauler, and I really like that. But I think for 30 War Beast points, you probably could get a Mauler, a Pyre Troll, and an Impaler in her battle group. And for her, she really wants Far Strike.
Yeah.
So, Doom Shaper 3, not a whole lot changed here. It's just that his scroll now can be within 1 inch instead of base to base, so it's a little less clunky. But honestly, with that, I feel like they could have just changed it control, and it wouldn't have mattered at all. Horgol 2. Big change.
Horgol, I love Horgol. I built so many Horgol lists and never got to play them.
Yep, so solid ground changes, whatever. It becomes blast resistance. With trolls, that's actually not bad because their arm is quite high in general, so it's nice. But the big deal is like finally, now Horgol's feat will boost attack and damage rolls against enemy models.
Suffering
from fire. So it just means that like before you had to have the enemy model in your control, but that's not the case anymore.
No, now you just need the friendly models making attacks, so you can have like what I always wanted to do with them was in Vengeance of Dunia, you set stuff on fire and then shoot them with some brutal damage artillery. So now like you don't need to play Horgol so far forward, and you can just get some fire out and then still casually like get the damage on something 20 inches away.
Yeah, he's one that I think not many people would have seen in general normally, but now I think he actually is like up for discussion in competitive pairing. So a nice change for Horgol too. I'm super stoked because I bought the model when he first came out at War Machine Weekend, and I never put him on the table.
No, I think he's like a solid Vengeance caster. And, like, he can do work in that theme. Like, it has a bunch of guns. It has artillery. He can still take some solid beasts. And, like, he can do work.
Yep, absolutely. Hunter's Grim went up 4 War Beast points. This is one of those changes that happened across the board where, like, Privateer Press thought that, like, oh, the units or the ones that come with beasts or jacks or something like that needed to have smaller War Beast points. There really wasn't a big reason for it on Grim 2. So getting an extra 4 points is cool, but I don't think it really, like, changes him enough to make him any more or less attractive to me. He's just kind of like meh.
No, Grim 1 was always the more attractive Grim 2, and Grim 1 getting buffed just makes me want to look at Grim 1 more than Grim 2. Like, Grim 2 just needed something more than just War Beast points. Like, it was one of his issues.
He just, like, Grim 2 has always kind of been, like, the assassination caster. Like, I feel like his feat was really geared towards that. So, like, I don't think that going all in on assassination anymore is the biggest thing in the universe when you're trolls, at least, because if you're not doing it in melee, it means that you're relying on like not the best shooting in the universe, and I think you need to take too much support to make the shooting worthwhile.
Yeah, and with him being a Fury 6 Warlock with mortality, like it's always just been kind of like he was probably the Grim that should have got Witchmark, to be honest. Like that would have helped him
maybe it's a typo. So now we get to go to one of my more recent like fun warlocks and trolls, and that's going to be Yarl. So the only change he really got was that he picked up synergistic magic. Now when I first saw this I was like woohoo, like I don't care because the only time I'm playing Yarl is in Storm of the North, but Ethan kind of convinced me otherwise, that synergistic magic on him is pretty decent. Being able to swap Quicken is a big deal because like that's one of the things that I usually had to choose when I would play him, is like I've got more than one unit that I want Quicken on, but I also want to do magic bullets and far strike myself so that I can actually start killing things with Yarl, because it's just really like he's good at it, you know. But I would have liked to have seen reload 1 come on each of his guns.
That would have been nice. Cool. Like I think he is the only synergistic magic caster that can only get 2 tokens a turn, because all of them have more attacks than him.
Yeah.
And he has 3 upkeeps, so like he really can't even keep up with just getting free upkeeps or maybe even casting an upkeep for free. Like he's got to stockpile it, and like you said, he's got so many animi that he wants to cast where it's a nice little tweak to him, but it doesn't really fix all of his issues.
Exactly. So for those who aren't like, you know, reading along with this one, for synergistic magic, it's just an ability that gets stapled to you, and whenever you destroy a model with an attack, so magic bullet doesn't destroy the model, you gain a power token, and then you can spend power tokens to either upkeep or cast upkeep spells as though they were Fury. So a good change for him, but I think like giving him reload here would have been really nice.
Yeah, and I think he's the only synergistic magic caster that doesn't have an offensive upkeep.
Yeah.
So the other ones get to kind of capitalize on it a little bit more. But it's still a nice change, and like I think it helps him.
It's nice, could be better.
Yeah, it's fair.
So Madrak 2 gained Berserk.
Which
Fun.
it's a nice little thing,
Yeah.
now that he can't feed on himself and just trivially kill your opponent's whole army.
Exactly. I feel like they kind of brought him back into balance, even though I still think he breaks Malvin and Mayhem. So if you ever want to do that.
I mean, he used to. Now he really doesn't. Like, he just basically gets Melvin and Mayhem back to where they were before.
Yeah, without reach. So
and without reach.
It's still like, if you're going to play him, that's probably where you're going to see it.
Yeah, no, I never got to play my Vengeance of Dunia Madrak to Melvin and Mayhem list in minions as an answer to infantry spam. I never got to try it.
No, dead forever. So going on to the beast changes, most of the beast changes here are points drops, and what I'm just going to call out like some of the big ones, like the Earthborn being 12 points is massive.
That's
like,
huge.
He's a 12-point heavy and a 12-point heavy war beast. That's not a goat, and that's amazing. He's immune to a bunch of stuff, has a decent animus, and can still slap. Another big one is that the Dire Troll Mauler is legit the cheapest Fury 5 war beast in the game, as Ethan informed. I think like there aren't many 5 Fury war beasts in the game in general anyways, but 13 points, that's the price of a Juggernaut, and that's cheap. So
especially when you want rage in a list.
Absolutely. So the points drops for the heavies are really great. I think the Blitzer needed more than just 2 points dropped on it. I think the rules are what's the problem, not the price.
Yeah.
So all in all, good. Even the Bomber went down in points, and the Mauler too. And those guys, I wouldn't have expected. I guess the Bomber's pretty expensive as he is, but so 16 points feels better. But the Brawler dropping 2 points off of him was also a little unexpected.
Yeah, like that was unexpected because he's the only non-character
reach heavy. Yeah,
reach heavy. There's a couple lights, but yeah, like Brawlers are legit.
No, they're good. When we talk about lights, some of the elementals went down, so it's almost like you're playing old EE.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went down again.
Yeah, I know. They're real cheap for sure. The big point drops come from the 120s. So the Glacier King, the Mountain King, and the Sea King all went down. The first two went down by 3 points, and the Sea King went down by 4. I do think the Sea King needs more changes to be considered playable. Like, there's just something really clunky about his kit only having a 4-inch reach weapon on one side of him.
And his gun's just a little bit short range.
It's just he's a clunky ass 120. The Glacier
he doesn't
King,
even get the 4-inch sweeps.
Yeah,
like,
no 4-inch sweeps. Like, it's just the Sea King needed more than this, and I feel like that is a huge miss on Privateer Press's part. The Glacier King is amazing. Like, it's probably the best king of the entire Trollblood faction. So going down 3 points, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, like it was already the best king, and now it's just like even cheaper.
And we'll get even to another part about why it's even better. But the Mountain King, Jeepers Creepers, bud. I'm so happy that he went down 3 points, but look what they did to my boy. They took Rage off his card and put Primal on.
Primal.
No!
Like nerfed Primal. Like, if you don't know the Primal changes, which I'm guessing you do if you're listening to this cast about
Why'd you do this to me?
It only gives +1/+1 to Mat and Strength. So now, like, the Mountain King before was like, okay, I can take just a Mountain King for a battle group because it has Rage at least.
Yeah,
and now
you
it's
got
like
your Rage. You're like, okay, cool.
Now
I
it's
don't
like,
need to bring a Mauler.
Now I get a 2-cost Animi that gives +1/+1 with no frenzying. Like, ugh. And
Why?
And then on top of it, they nerfed the troll whelps that they spoiled, because before it used to be within 2, or no, it used to be within 1, so you didn't have to be completely within 1, so you could theoretically put 2 base to base,
tow your base into that bag,
and then mathematically, if you did the math with your opponent, prove that a reach heavy couldn't get on the Mountain King. But they had to take that away, so now it's completely within 2 inches. So if you're base to base with it, a reach heavy can punch the Mountain King.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see good changes for the Mountain King because he is such an amazing model for the faction. But, geez, man.
Like, why did he lose Rage? Like, now, like,
there was no reason for them to take Rage off of him.
Like, I get they wanted to try and push the Mauler more because, like, the Pyro Troll basically invalidated the Mauler, because now everyone's like, well, why do I want to spend more points on Rage when I can take a light with a gun that does an Animus that also can be cast on warrior models? Mm-hmm. And then the Mountain King now, like, trolls don't really need primal. Like,
No, they don't.
You got rage.
The mat's pretty decent in general for trolls. Like you have enough fury too to boost the hits when you need to. Enough initials to where it's not the biggest deal in the universe. So like primal just no, I don't get it.
Welcome to Circle, baby, where primal can be your only damage buff.
Yeah,
Except you still get rage on one beast.
Not happy about it. The last point drop that I'll touch on for the War Beast is just that Mulg goes down to 18 points. This is really cool.
Which is really nice.
I think they could have gone a little bit more intense with it and dropped him down just a little more.
I mean, he's in line with like Getarex.
It's just that he's in one theme, and he is a character for a caster who really doesn't like the Doomies aren't really putting up the numbers right now, so to speak. So
hey,
like
Doomie 1 was going to be in my minions pairing.
I still would have just liked to have seen Mulg come down a little bit more, just a tad.
I was more hoping they'd fix the Animus because I really
wanted to fix it. I'm happy with the way it works.
I just really don't like the Animus doing damage. Like,
yeah.
You're already paying the opportunity cost of needing to spend Fury to arc. You can't run, so you have to, at best, you can Animus trample. So, like, it's like you're paying 18 points for an arc node, and then you're just going to kill your own arc node?
I thought you were going to complain about him being able to put the Animus up and then cancel the Animus to get
Oh, no, that's just, like, a stupid thing that PP's allowing, and I'm fine with it in one theme.
Nah, it works.
It's more of, like, I don't like the fact that arcing kills your beast. Like, I just don't get it.
Yep.
Like, you're already paying the opportunity cost of needing to spend the Fury and the Trample, so it's not like you're Crix with a 6-point arc node that's running 12 inches. Like, ooh, Mulg tramples 7 inches and I can still arc through them. Mm-hmm. That's so good. I'm glad my 18-point heavy's doing this turn and still taking damage.
So getting back to the theme of big old bases, the Hooch Hauler went down in 3 points and then changed high proof for accelerant, which just means that it does damage now.
Yeah. So applies on hit, so the big gun gets oil and damage.
A good change overall for it. I think you'll still like it's relegated. It's one of probably the only model in the game that is probably like not seen as much because of its actual real money cost instead of points.
They should have nerfed its dollar value.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I do think that you'll see it a little more regularly for those who have them.
If you have one, it's a nice little quality of life.
I
Extra
wouldn't run
3
out
points.
And grab one right away because it's going to be top of the meta or anything.
It's still one of those battle engines that doesn't have a boost mechanic. Like oil is really nice, but then it's just like, I really wish I had a power token.
Yeah, I was moderately shocked that the War Wagon didn't get any changes. I think that it's a good 120 in general, but I would have maybe just seeing this is the one where I think a small points drop would have been a little bit warranted.
I mean, War Wagon is already 16 points, so like, it's pretty good. And like, I don't know, like the War Wagon is just kind of weird because there's some like Vengeance of Dunians jank with like Gunny or with Helga 1. Like that's the big one. Like Helga 1 with a War Wagon is kind of dirty.
And
like,
we all know the War Wagons are really where you're going to be seeing Grim 1.
Yeah.
So
like War Wagons under Grim 1. Ugh.
Yeah, they're gross. So on to solos. I'm going to skip over most of these point changes. The couple changes that I really want to hone in on are Horgel 1 is first because he's again like another Horgel gets a big glow up. The arm buff isn't the big part here, but the affinity is. So like he only used to be able to bring Pyre and Slag Trolls, but now he can bring anything he wants, and this is where you stick your Glacier King.
Which why?
Because he gives it Fire Group or not Fire Group, the +2 range.
The thing is like. I don't like Horgel losing the affinity is really nice and opens them up. The problem is like Madrag 0 just came out and I see no reason to take Horgel over Madrag 0.
If you're trying to get
and Madrag 0 is in every single troll theme unlike Horgel 1, like that's the problem. Like some of these like
I still think
Zero locks just kind of are better than the juniors.
I don't think you're doing yourself any bad or you're not what's the word I'm looking for? You're not shooting yourself in the foot if you take Horgel with a Glacier King. Like I think that it's not a bad call.
It's not bad because Hot Shot's a good spell.
Yeah, it's just that as Ethan alluded to, Madrag 0 is just a better Zero Warlock, but I think Horgel with a Glacier King's cute.
It is cute. Like he can do some stuff. It's not as bad as say like Tristan 1 versus Sevi 0, like where there's literally no conversation in the world where you take Tristan over Sevi. But like it's just like the fact that Madrak's in every single theme when Horgel's in, he's only in like 1 or 2.
I know he's in Power of Dunia for sure, but I don't know exactly where else he is because I've never really looked at him before.
Yeah.
Outside that, like Janessa Stonetide going up to 8 boxes is cool. It's worth noting that there's only one Trollblood solo in the entire faction that isn't a rec option now because of the way the points have been adjusted. So like Valka went down points, and Horthel he went down but not enough. In my opinion, at least 7 points he's a good solo for 7 points. Like
7 points seems to be like the lowest on the Dragoon scale.
Yeah.
Or Horthel, is he a Dragoon?
He's a Dragoon, yeah.
Yeah,
Horthel.
so like Dragoons and even like Cavalry solos like Derek Wraith, the Tharn one, like 7 seems to be kind of the cutoff.
The thing that gets me with Horthel is that he's a good solo in general, but you take him alongside the Tuffalos, why can't I remember their name? Because I only ever call them Tuffalos. Long Riders. You only ever take him along with those, so like it always feels like you're paying for a 7-point UA that isn't attached to the unit, so it's just a little weird. But overall, good changes for the Trollblood solos. Lots of point adjustments, and some of them got beefed up a little bit in their durability. Kicking over to the units, this one's a rough one to get into because there's a lot of points changes again. Long Riders down 3 points. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, most Cavalry went down a few points. Yeah, they lost a whole 3.
Thank you for that. So I'm very happy with that part of it. So to talk, I'm going to skip over the rest of the point decreases because, like, you know, less points is better always. So let's just talk about, like, rules wise what changed that got better. I think Northkin Raiders already a good unit. Safe handling and gunfighter is really good for them. I don't think it makes
and they got 2 points cheaper.
Yeah, and they got 2 points cheaper. I don't think it's anything that's like I don't feel like it's going to be the thing that makes someone take them, you know, like if you were taking them before, you have more of a reason to take them now.
And you already taken them before because they were good.
Exactly. So another unit that is also a little more on the pricey side. I think they're like $75 a unit.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Yep, but they are beautiful models, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Creole Warriors going up +1 POW.
Yeah. So Creole Warriors, the +1 POW is cool, but not the big change that makes them really amazing. It's really the Caber Tosser that I'm going to lump in. He also went up 1 POW, but he gained mobile cover. He gained Carapace mobile cover and easy target. Easy target is whatever. But which it does blow because people can target it with, and you can't block line of sight to it. I believe he still has take up. So that it's not the biggest problem in the universe. But the big thing for mobile cover is that while anything is within 2 inches of him, it's got to be a medium or smaller thing, but they'll gain Carapace as well, which is just really cool with something like Creole Warriors. Like, if you think about like what their purpose is, being an 11-point unit, it's just to go in and jam and do nasty stuff. And if you have anything that increases their output, they become a real big pain in the butt.
Yeah, and there's some casters like Madrak 3 Creole Warrior spam was floating around pre-update, and I think post-update it's a very strong list for trolls, and just randomly getting Carapace on stuff now on top of Defender's Ward, on top of Stone, like you're probably not going to be spamming the dudes, but the Caber guys, you're going to be spamming Creole Warriors, like 3 to 5 units of them for sure, but like 1 per unit. Yeah, just to spread a bubble around, put Madrak in it. I
think I mathed it out to be like, you know, you probably are loot dropping off if you're putting any more than 2 in a unit.
Yeah, because one of them basically is the 1/5 the cost of another unit of Creole Warriors.
Absolutely. So, I wanted to talk about Pig Burrowers gaining Gunfighter, but I literally don't care. Like, the Privateer Press screwed this unit in many transitions, and I don't think giving them Gunfighter really does it for me. I mean, like, cool, we can charge with our POW 14 slug guns that are Rat 5, 4,
yeah,
Rat
5. I mean, it's better than their Mat 4 pickaxes.
Sure.
But Rat then, 5 slug guns are okay.
You got to worry about getting that stupid pig tank up there to give them vet leader. I don't know. Like maybe burrowers are okay to take, especially if you're looking at that Grim 2 assassination-y list, or maybe you're looking at a Grim 1 list where you can Witch Hunter a 16-inch knockdown spell and then pop up your guys and boop them on. That's fun.
Yeah, like they're not bad.
They're cute, which I guess is probably the best they could ask for. But we talked about the theme songs, but now is probably my favorite change for a unit. And Fenblades, they were already amazing, especially like it wasn't they're medium base 10-man unit up to 12, of course, with their UA. The drummer comes along to make them command 1,000,000, and they have no quarter. They're already pretty decent in terms of the strength of their weapons and their reach. So I would always use them as jamming infantry. I was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and charge and do a bunch of work with these with the couple Fenblades that exist, but now you have to deal with them. But flippin' jeepers, they gained brutal charge and went down 2 points for the max unit. Holy buckets, that is amazing.
Yeah, brutal charge, getting them up to POW 14s, 15 with the stone. Like, that's pretty legit.
Yeah, no, Fenblades, like, real great. Like, when I first started going through the changes, like, line for line, I was like, oh, I'm glad I've got 5 units of Creole Warriors. And then I went to Fenblades, and I was like, that is nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So I was super happy to see that change. Highwaymen down 1 stupid point because of Discombobulate. Man, I wanted more for these guys.
Hey.
Give me like Apparition or something. Like just anything for them to make their stupid guns. But I don't know. I could talk about Highwaymen for days.
They just need a UA or something to do something for them.
Well, and Braylon doesn't do enough for them. Like I just really wish there would have been more put into actually making the unit interesting instead of just saying like this is basically Kalandra's character unit.
But even then, like, she doesn't need them?
She doesn't really need them, no. But it's just, like, getting the whole, like, the backstab shots is cool with Discombobulate. But whatever. I'm going to move forward because I could just lament Highwaymen for days and days. Troll Sluggers got some weird changes. So I always thought that Troll Sluggers, after their update, in the previous update at least, were good. Like, they were decent. I was already starting to convert a whole unit to make them not look derpy. They gain an extra command, which is whatever. They don't have a UA to like bump that up, so like that's fine. But this Overwatch order is really interesting. Essentially, it's like covering fire, but it starts out at POW 8 and then gets +1 for each model that's in the unit. So like the gunshots coming from the sluggers are extremely valuable. So I don't know how often I would want to be putting down this Overwatch template. I would have really liked it if they just did it at the end of their activation instead of having it be in order, because already like they're not the most amazing unit in the universe, but they could have used like this thing as just like a template they put down at the end of activation, and I think it would have made them better but not broken.
I mean, the fact that it's an order, so everybody has to do it, or no, because you just choose a model in the unit. I don't know if everybody else has to give up their shot. Maybe they do.
It just says affected models forfeit. So
they all do.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's cute on a min unit, like, because then it's just 3 dudes wasting their activation instead of 5, because it starts at POW 8, so 3 dudes get up to POW 11, which is kind of average for covering fire. 5 of them gets it up to POW 13, which is really respectable. But then you're giving up 5 activation. You're giving up 5d3 shots for 1 covering fire template.
That's why I really would have liked this to not be in order. But at any rate, sluggers are still interesting. It's just that there's always going to be other things that outshine them. Yeah. We kind of glazed over one of the nerfs in quotes. And I mean, it's just a nerf. Like the Trollkin Barrage team went from 16 to 14, which is like legit-ish, because like troll bazookas are much bigger than anything that any other model should be bringing to the game in terms of firepower, so the fact they were range 16 was fine.
It was ridiculous.
I think it was fine.
Fuck you. Playing the 3 units of them that are just shooting from 16 inches away, because that's the problem. Like, you don't ever just see one barrage team. You see 3 of them, and then chances are, who are they with? Gunny.
Yep.
What are they doing? Killing your whole fucking army.
Yep. So I think that, like, even though they went down to range 14, it doesn't make them any less takeable. Like, I still think
like
they're
you're still
slam
taking
dunk
3
unit.
of them in Vengeance.
And that's like, it's kind of interesting to have that talk next to the sluggers, because I feel like they both kind of fill the same roles-ish, and the Parage team just does it better.
Yeah, like I had a slugger list with Horgel 2, like because I thought like under feet, fully boosted POW 13s, like D3 shots each, like that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just range 10, speed 5, like it's okay, but then yeah.
They're cool, but the least cool of cool units. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always wanted them to be great. But when we get to the attachments, there's just a bunch of point drops and some things to bring stuff in line with their other units, like Creole Warriors going up to that, or the Creole Warrior Officer in Standard going up to POW 11. The one that I really would like to hone in on here is like the change from out of left field. Scaldy is 3 points.
What? Yeah, like why?
What happened there? Like Scaldy was like, you always windmill slam him as your first rec option, so it's not like it mattered a whole lot. Like I've always said, rec option points don't matter, but 3 points? Whoa. What?
Like he's the same cost as most support solos, and even like Harlow.
Hey, he's 1 point more than a lesser Warcaster.
Yeah.
Like Tristan. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Scaldy being an 8 hit point, 3 point model was not something I expected. Like I thought maybe 4 if everything's getting point reductions, but 3 is just like
like in what universe can you say that like the Bushwhacker's mortar is 1 more point than Scaldy?
In a world where Dunians aren't free anymore, I guess. Like Trolls had to get something.
They had to get something for losing Dunians.
Because like even though they're not troll specific, I feel like it's worth talking about.
Yeah, which we've
the partisan nerfs.
Yeah, we've kind of gone through the main faction changes. I didn't think it was going to be 40 minutes long of a conversation, but here we are. So maybe we might have to break these up a little more. At any rate, though, getting on to like the partisan things, before we get to minion suck zone, let's go over Boomhowler.
Oh my god,
freaking crap, man! He's down to 12 points for a max unit. This was another thing. Like I'm sure Signar players around are rejoicing because now they can dust off their Boomhowlers. But like he dropped 3 points at min, 5 for the max, and if that wasn't enough, the whole freaking unit gained shooting gallery. Blech.
Yeah, like Signar players might be able to, but if only Murdoch was in more than one theme.
I know, like Murdoch is the big reason why I'm really happy about Boomhowlers and Signar, but like in Trollbloods, like this is amazing. Like I was, again, it was more of that getting to the Creole Warrior spam list that I wanted to build. I was like, well, for 1 more point, I get Boomhowler. Yeah,
and all of his good chance.
Yep, bringing cacophony and no knockdown, like good stuff. Like awesome change for him. So happy. It's real fun. So now we can go to the minion changes, and
which is really just like the big one is really the Dunian not being free.
It's the Dunian, and then we talked a little bit about Boomhowler 3.
Yeah,
but
Boomy got beat up.
It's not just that. It's like Boomhowler 1, King of the World. Boomhowler 3, a little mopey. He doesn't have auto amputate anymore. He gets crit amputate.
He still has trash,
and so that's cool. But his hoof it thing gets hit a little bit. But the other thing that I really feel bad for this, like Boomhowler 2.
Oh,
like
man.
he just does not exist anymore in this game because he didn't get reductions to fit into the rec options for the 5 point cutoff that they did for these things. So like if you were taking Boomhowler 2, which he's a really good solo, but not for 6 points. Like they should have knocked him down to allow him to become a rec option again. And I don't know why they decided to just say on the shelf with you, Boomhowler 2.
Yeah, like he used to be rec options in some of my Merc lists in Soldiers of Fortune, and now it's just like, is repo really needed on a unit?
Yep, it was. He had a cool gun and a cool ability, but now he is just not Boomhowler 1, and he's not a rec option. So I think that kind of... Well, no, we got to talk about the stupid Dunian.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
We literally just did before you went on to like...
I'm sorry. I just like got...
All I said was Dunians aren't free, and you're like, I want to bitch about Boomy.
Nah, yeah. So Dunians...
Because they're still like really, really good, but man, like paying 6 points for them, like that's a big hit to Trolls. Like Trolls was spamming the shit out of them. Like
I think they could have survived going down to 5 points, but I don't know if that would like
that defeats the purpose. Because like the
I
problem is like they're too good free. Because like playing, like I used to play double Dunians, like it is so annoying killing dudes through them. Like,
well, double Dunian with a Hermit on top of that, like that gets really
I got play that in Secret Masters with your Dunians healing your Hermit.
But it is like one of those Razor's Edge things where like I feel like they kind of tipped her over to where she's fallen off of like even not. I'm just thinking about this Creole Warrior list that I'm building. Like I've stripped Dunians out of it because like first of all, there's too many bodies for me to care that the Dunian exists, other than maybe keeping Boomhowler alive. But like really, she's just too many points for what she does right now. If you're bringing champion, like a champion brick, sure, you might bring one just to make sure you can be annoying. But even then, like I don't know about that anymore. Like I think they took her from being like a really good option that was, auto take as a rec option to being not taken it really at all.
Yeah, because there's a like you want 2 Dunians. Like 1 Dunian is okay.
Yeah.
But like spending, so like you're like you said, you might slot in 1, but then you're like, I'm only really negating 1 attack a turn. I'm only healing 1 thing off of your attack. It's where you really wanted to stack 2 auras. And then, like you said, spending 12 points on that, like that's
it's
a
hard
chunk.
Which is why I think like making them 5 points and giving them the Boomhowler ability where they can't be taken as rec options would have been the way to go.
Yeah, they said they were going to get special issue, and then instead they just made the reduction or the restrictions on rec options instead.
Yeah, I'm really bummed out about that because I think the Dunian was just a really cool piece for Trollbloods to have, and it just got hit too hard. That's my soapbox, though, at least. So I think that rounds out Trolls.
So, like, how do you think that's going to impact Trolls, like, themes and lists going forward, I guess? Like, I think that's a good end discussion for Trolls.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think any of the Trollblood themes really changed in profound ways in general.
Hey, Skinner got added to one of the themes, sir.
I said profound.
It is profound. It has Weapon Master now.
Yeah, now it has Weapon Master, right? Yeah. That's an old throwback for you oldies. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really like. Nothing outstanding really happened for the themes, but I think in terms of how do these changes affect what Trolls does competitively, I think a lot of the things they're still doing the same things they used to. The big one is like if you're one of those people who went all in on the Gristle 1 a bazillion rune shapers, I don't think that list functions anymore with the Dunians not being rec options. Like I'm sorry, but like that list was really good. Like probably I would say it's in definitely top 3 of Trollblood meta, and now I just don't think you can take it. I just don't think it functions.
No, like you can still get the knot for free, but then like you really relied on free Dunians.
Yep.
And like you just really can't cut rune shapers to fit them.
Exactly. Like if they maybe dropped the points on rune shapers a little bit, then maybe it would have been like functional still because you would have like had a lateral shift with it. But other than that, I think we're gonna start seeing like Cole Grimma's still good. Like all the things in her army got cheaper.
And Bumbles did not get hit.
Yeah, none of the ambush things got hit, and that surprised me quite a bit.
Yeah.
The bears are probably fine. The bear units are probably fine, but Bumbles, like, he definitely like lucked out there.
Yeah, like if Boomy 3 got hit, I thought for sure Bumbles was getting hit somehow.
Yeah, and maybe it's just a thing where people might not have seen it a whole bunch to see how ridiculously bonkers Bumbles is, but he did escape the nerf. So I think for sure you're going to be seeing tons of Storm of the North. Like, it's just the way it's going to be because the bears are still great. Champions are still good. Scaldy's cheap. You don't have to pay for him as a rec option. And Storm of the North is probably where Yarl sees most of his play. If non-magical shooting gets real big, you'll probably see Borka 1 popping in here and there because that is like really difficult for some people to deal with.
Windwall is such a... It's a weird spell on some casters where it's like, but I really feel like if your troll pairing is struggling with non-magical shooting that ignores clouds that Cole Grimma struggles with, or even Yarl with like Sloan, Kane 3, like some of these casters like that, like man, just plop down Windwall and Borka just sits there with 9 Fury and says, "Come at me, bro."
Or he's just like, "I'm coming at you and I will get there sooner or later."
I mean, yeah, like he'll get it there with Mosh Pit.
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition, I think like we've talked about it a little bit. Like I'm super excited to play a ton of Creole Warriors. I think right now I'm sitting at 5 units, but maybe one of those going to be destined for being a Boom Howler conversion. So those will probably be seen a bunch. I think Fenblades are still great. Like it's kind of like, I feel like you're getting to, like Trolls might be getting to a point as the meta kind of evolves a little bit. If we end up going to a more infantry focused game, that Trolls have gotten put into a really good spot because you're not just windmill slamming champions all the time. Like the rest of the infantry actually has like some legs.
Yeah. And it's just going to be like, because Vengeance of Dunia, 100% still playable. Boom. Or Gunny 2, still phenomenal.
Yeah, we didn't even go over all the minion changes to kind of wrap into Vengeance, but we probably will talk about that in minions.
That's like a whole other list of shit.
Yeah.
It's more of like, the big thing for Trolls going forward is really how to balance their lists in a world that doesn't have free Dunians.
Yeah,
because that was a big part of Troll culture.
Yeah, they were
and Troll list building.
Hanging their hat on that quite a bit.
Yeah, like 1 to 2 units of champions, free Dunians in most themes, and then you just build from there. And now you actually got to think a little bit more and decide, are not free Dunians worth it?
Yeah, it's that's why I think I'm going more towards the wider infantry instead of the more condensed ones. But time will tell and see how it goes. But it doesn't mean that champions are bad by any means. It's just that the Dunians coming out the way they did kind of hurt Trolls overall. But I'm still super excited about them. I kind of like pivoted. I was like, oh yeah, Crucible Guard, and I was like, nope. Going to Trolls.
Going back home.
Yep. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's talk about the things that didn't change that I probably would have liked to have seen change in Trolls. I do find it kind of rude that none of the Doom Shapers really got anything to change with them.
Doomy 1 got his feet to work on horrors, which is not something I expected last update.
I know that, but that's you being pessimistic towards the update process. Whereas, like, I do think that like Doom Shaper 3 or Doom Shaper 1, 2, and 3 all kind of have existed in this world of obscurity, and I don't know if anything in this list of changes does enough to really like elevate them up.
Well, Doomy 1, I think, with War Beasts overall getting cheaper, you might see more of them.
Yeah, you might see some more
I don't know if
stuff.
you'll see more like Beast Brick lists, but you'll definitely be seeing more War Beasts, so I think you'll get more work out of his feet.
Well,
and like into Infernals, his feet is just funny.
The other thing you're going to see a lot of too are probably more 120s. Spoiler, a lot of them got cheaper, and one of Doom Shaper's big things doesn't hit them.
Yeah, the Stranglehold nerf was not something I appreciated.
Yeah. And
like we could do a whole other video because we never really talked about that.
No, we didn't go over that.
Like I am not a fan of that change. Yeah. Like when they said the Gargantuan Colossal change, when they said something was coming, we like went back and forth. We're like, oh, maybe they're all going up a Fury.
Or they all maybe get like dual attack, or
maybe you can Spirit Bond for more than just one Fury off of a corpse.
Yeah, maybe Colossals go up to 4 focus.
And then instead we got the screw over Stranglehold casters.
Yep, and Haley.
Fuck Haley, she doesn't need a buff. But I feel like that's a side tangent from Trolls.
Yeah. It's a side thing. Outside of that, like I don't know if there was anything that really shocked me as like something that absolutely needed to be on here that wasn't. I'm gonna pause this and just make sure that that's what I want to say. I do think the Rune Shapers still could have gotten cheaper. Like 8 points is just a little too pricey for them, given that they aren't like rec options or anything like that. Now I know I'm not saying that they should be rec options, but I'd like to see them come down to like 7 or 6 points each, because I just don't feel in their current iteration that they're worth 8.
Yeah, 8 is really pricey for a 3-man unit.
Yeah, it's just, so those are
I mean, that's
things.
the average for like most 3-man units, but they're like a magic 3-man unit, so that's really different than a normal, like, should they really be the same points as Barrage Team?
Exactly, yeah. I think they're just paying for Runes of War sins.
Yeah. So
like that, I think overall though, every change in here outside of some of the weird ones that don't really make a whole lot of sense, like I'll go ahead because it's right in front of me and I see it. Like Yarl really should have got reload 1 on his guns.
Yeah, like when I looked at him at first, I thought he had reload, so I was like, oh, he can at least get 4 tokens a turn. Like that's cute. And then like you flip over his card and it's like he doesn't have reload.
Yeah, no, it's rough. again, like another thing that I think it's more so like there's not a whole lot in the Trollblood lineup that I feel like needed to change that didn't change here. I think more I can come up with just as many, if not more, examples of things that like should have changed a little more. Like I did say, you know, the Blitzer is something where like you can make that thing 11 points, and I don't think I care still. Like it's just not good.
No, it's not a good beast.
So that's kind of my spiel about it, at least in term. And the freaking Mountain King, like, talk about things that shouldn't needed to change. Like, don't just give me my rage back.
Yeah, like there's no reason to lose rage.
I don't get it, but whatever. Overall, Trollbloods have come out like in a better position than when they went in. Like Horgel 2 is off the shelf completely. Like,
that's true. Like they've survived the update better than some factions.
Yeah, they definitely, like, even though the Dunian thing hurts, there's enough that's been put into the faction that kind of makes me forget about it, you know? Like, I still, again, Dunians probably should have went down to 5.
Trolls survived before Dunians, and they'll survive after Dunian nerf. So, like, I get it. Like, it was just a core part of their theme, and they just got to get used to a world where maybe they aren't rocking double Dunian in most lists.
Yeah, they'll just be real survivable instead of unkillable.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm happy with it. Let us know in the comment section below how you feel about Trollbloods, and you know, just throw up some of the things that you're extremely excited about. You know, like I said, I'm Grim 1 is probably just in my pairs forever.
Oh my god, he's so good. And then people can tell Brian how he's wrong about pigs and how they're so good. I think they're pretty decent.
I guess rewind a little bit. The long, or the lookout, or not the lookouts, but the bushwhackers probably could have just been tweaked a little bit too.
So good.
But yeah, I'm happy with it overall. Happy to be back in Trollland.